Emma's key turned in the lock with a satisfying click. She opened the door and entered inside. The house was quiet, welcoming her in from the bustle of the city. It was just past 9, and the only sound was the gentle hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. "Just me," she announced to the empty house, a habit from childhood. Her voice echoed in the stillness. Emma dropped her keys on the hall table and flicked on the living room lamp. A pool of warm light pushed back the shadows, revealing familiar furniture and the quiet order of home. She took a deep breath, savouring the silence. Emma picked up the mail from the table, sorting through bills and flyers. A small handwritten envelope caught her eye. It was addressed to her in unfamiliar, loopy handwriting. Curious, she tore it open. The paper inside was blank. Frowning, Emma tossed it aside, probably just some kid's prank. As Emma slipped out of her work clothes and into a comfy t-shirt, her phone buzzed on the bathroom counter. It was a text from David. "Hey love, how was your day?" Emma smiled. He always knew how to make her feel better. "Long and tiring," she typed back. "Wish you were here." Another buzz. "Me too. Though it's pretty wild here, you wouldn't believe it." That was odd. David was at a conference, not exactly the kind of place known for its wild atmosphere. Before she could reply, another message popped up. "Just saw the weirdest thing, like something out of one of your books." Emma laughed. David always teased her about her love of mystery novels. She quickly typed back, "Oh yeah? Ghosts and goblins?" The reply came instantly, something like that, hard to explain. Emma's smile faded. There was something off about his texts. They were coming too quickly, almost manic, and David wasn't usually this chatty, especially not through text. Another buzz. Actually, it's kind of freaking me out. Emma's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" she typed, her fingers suddenly clumsy on the small keyboard. "David? What's going on?" The phone remained silent. She tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail. A knot of unease tightened in her stomach. This wasn't like him at all. She paced the bedroom, phone clutched in her hand, trying to rationalize his strange messages. Maybe he was just tired or stressed from the conference. Maybe he'd had too much coffee. But deep down, a sliver of fear began to take root. Something was wrong. As Emma tried to convince herself everything was fine, a noise from upstairs shattered the quiet. It was a soft thud, followed by a faint scraping sound, like furniture being dragged across the floor. Emma froze, her heart pounding in her chest. Had she imagined it? No, there it was again. A slow, deliberate creak. Her blood ran cold. She was alone in the house. Panic welled up inside her, threatening to overwhelm her. She thought about calling the police, but what would she tell them? That her husband was sending weird texts and there were strange noises upstairs? They'd think she was crazy. She had to see for herself. Taking a deep breath, Emma grabbed a heavy candlestick from the dresser, clutching it like a weapon. Her hand trembled as she crept towards the bedroom door, her bare feet silent on the carpet. Each creak of the floorboards above sent shivers down her spine. She reached the top of the stairs, her eyes scanning the dark hallway. The scraping sound came again, this time louder, from the direction of their spare bedroom. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The room was always kept locked. David insisted on it. He called it his man cave, a place where he could escape to work on his hobbies without interruption. He had the only key. With a surge of adrenaline, Emma lunged for the doorknob, throwing all her weight against the door. It flew open with a bang, revealing nothing. The room was empty. Moonlight streamed through the window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The furniture was undisturbed, the curtains drawn. There was no sign of forced entry, no indication that anyone had been there at all. Emma stood there for a moment, heart racing, her fear giving way to confusion. Had she imagined the entire thing? Was the stress of the day finally getting to her? She lowered the candlestick, feeling foolish. As she turned to leave, a cold draft sent a shiver down her spine. She spun around, her eyes scanning every corner of the room, searching for the source of the draft. That's when she saw it. The window was open. Just a crack, but definitely open. David always kept it locked. A chill ran down her spine, despite the warmth of the night. It was as if an unseen presence lingered in the room, watching her. Fleeing the room, Emma raced downstairs, her mind whirling. She had to get out of the house. As she fumbled with the deadbolt on the front door, her phone buzzed again. It was another text from David. She stared at the screen, her blood turning to ice. The message was short, just 3 words, but they were enough to send a wave of terror crashing over her. "I'm already home." The phone slipped from her grasp, clattering to the floor. She didn't scream, she didn't even breathe. All she could do was stand there, frozen in place, as a cold, invisible hand seemed to close around her throat. The house was silent, but it was no longer the comforting silence of an empty home. It was the silence of something waiting.